The best ideas don't always speak for themselves. I was running this workshop in Austria, and we had some of the top level, execs, leaders, top talents and thinkers in this workshop. And it was clear, just because you have the best idea, if you can't tell a clear story around it, no one will notice because everyone has great ideas, right? How do you make yours stand out? And so many smart professionals think, when I talk about my idea, I need it to be concise, which means I need to use as little words as possible to get my point across. But actually, brevity and conciseness are two different things. It's not about word count, it's about clarity in the message. So let me give you an example. In management consulting, we always give recommendations. So a very brief recommendation would be, after researching and looking through the data, we believe you should expand into Asia. Once you hear this, how do you feel? There's so much uncertainty. Okay, you think we should expand into Asia, but why? What is it based on? What's the criteria? What's the goal that we're actually trying to achieve? How is this going to help us achieve it? What are the obstacles? Have you thought of all the alternatives right there? It stirs up so much uncertainty because of the brevity. Now, if you were being concise, you would say something like, to hit double-digit revenue growth, we should expand into Asia instead of optimizing our current distribution channels. The three main things supporting our recommendation is from market research, our internal and external data, as well as our current capabilities. We can go into the details of all three, but I want to highlight when we digged into the data, we saw that even though investment short term is going to be bigger, we have some low-hanging fruits that we can get started on right away. And we found really surprising insights in the data that give us competitive advantage in the medium term. Where would you like to start? The second example had a lot more words, but the message was so clear. Recommendation, like the first one, was on top, right? So this was bottom line up front. You've seen that in this video here. Then there were three supporting arguments. Didn't go into details for each of the three, but we knew there were three buckets, right? We looked at market research, we looked at the data, internal and external, and we looked at capabilities. Okay, already you're easing that nervousness of where is this recommendation coming from? How can we be sure we want to do this? Then we helped the listener prioritize by picking out one of the buckets, right? This was the data, internal, external. We found some really promising and surprising data in there. And if you've been on this channel for a while, then you might have spotted some of the frameworks I used here, right? You see the pyramid principle where we go answer, supporting arguments, and supporting evidence or data. You also saw the one thing, right? Helping them prioritize. Hey, look at the data first. We saw some really interesting things. We also have bluff, bottom line up front. One of our natural tendencies is to go chronologically, right? Instead of giving them, here is the recommendation, we go, oh, we looked into this research and then we found this and that. We talked to this person and that person. We had some obstacles and then finally came to the answer. But by the time you get to the answer, everyone's looking at their watch and saying, can you get to the point? So already three frameworks to help you bring that clarity to your message, being concise instead of brief. Now, for those a little bit more advanced, you can actually make this even more precise by using high information dense words. I talked about increasing information density in this video, and the key idea is you want to spot your vague words and sharpen them with specificity. For example, right, our recommendation, expand into Asia. Asia is huge. We have discussions all the time like, is India included in Asia? Is Southeast Asia a part of Asia? What about Australia and New Zealand? So even if you just said we should expand into Asia, our top three choices are China, Japan, and Singapore. That would immediately give so much more depth to what kind of expansion you're thinking about, what's the market sizing, what's the market characteristics, what do the customers care about. So just by adding a few words, you give so much more depth and specificity to what you're saying. Another example that's so easy to swap out is the use of some and a few. We have some low-hanging fruits, we have a few insights. So how many, right? Okay, we've got 2 low-hanging fruits. We've got 3 customer insights. Immediately, right? You can add depth by just swapping out these vague words for something more specific. But the question comes, how much is too much, right? We can continuously add detail until it becomes overwhelming. So where do I draw the line? Where is it too brief? Where is it too wordy? How do I know how much clarity I should be providing? And of course, You can use frameworks to help you do that. One of my favorite frameworks for pitch presentations like this is the goal, problem, solution, alternatives, and trade-off framework. These are really the 5 key elements you need for any business decision. Right? So we want to make sure we have a line or two for each of these 5 buckets. And then what I would do is structure what to say first with things like the pyramid principle or bluff or the one thing and help them orientate where to go. I cover more frameworks like this in my 5-minute communication framework course down below, or check out this video for more frameworks, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.